My girlfriend posted, "Some people will never level up." After I lost my job, I commented, "Agreed." When she found out why I really left that job and what company I'd been secretly building for 2 years, she tried to delete the post, but the screenshots were already viral. I, 29 male, got let go from my corporate job 3 weeks ago. My girlfriend Tessa, 27, has been less than supportive. Actually, that's being generous. She's been straight up cruel about it. We've been together for 3 years, living together for the last year. When I came home that Friday and told her I'd been laid off, company downsizing, they cut our entire department. Her first response wasn't, "Are you okay?" or "We'll figure it out." It was, "How are you going to pay your half of the rent?" I told her I had savings, unemployment would kick in, and I'd start job hunting Monday. She rolled her eyes and said, "Maybe aim lower this time. That job was probably too much for you anyway." For context, I was making $75 as a supply chain analyst. Not amazing money, but decent. Tessa makes about $60 as a marketing coordinator and never lets me forget that she has a creative job, while mine was just spreadsheets. The thing is, she doesn't know why I was okay with being laid off. She doesn't know about the LLC I formed 2 years ago. She doesn't know about the patent pending. She doesn't know about the $400 in revenue we did last year. Because every time I tried to tell her about my side project, she'd dismiss it as another one of your little hobbies. So I stopped trying to tell her. My business partner Jerome and I invented a specialized tool for HVAC installations. Sounds boring, right? Except it cuts installation time by 40%, and every contractor who's tried it wants to exclusive rights to it. We've been operating nights and weekends, reinvesting everything back into the business. The plan was to go full-time next year anyway. The layoff just accelerated the timeline. But here's where it gets interesting. 2 days ago, Tessa posted on Instagram, "Surround yourself with ambition. Some people will never level up, and that's okay, but you don't have to sync with them. Tash, know your worth? Level up, boss babe." She tagged her location at some bougie brunch place she went to with her friends. On a Tuesday, while I was job hunting, the comments were exactly what you'd expect. Her friends hyping her up, saying things like, "Yes, queen," and "Dead weight holds you back." One of them, Astrid, even commented, "Is this about you-know-who?" And Tessa replied with a laughing emoji. So I commented, "Agreed." Simple, 2 letters. But oh man, the chaos it caused. Within minutes, my phone was blowing up. Tessa texting, "What's that supposed to mean? Take that comment down now." "You're embarrassing me." I didn't respond. I was actually in a meeting with our manufacturer finalizing a huge order. See, what Tessa also didn't know is that last week, one of the biggest HVAC companies in the country made us an offer. Not to buy our product, to buy our entire company. $3.2 million. Jerome and I had been going back and forth on it. The layoff made my decision easy. We accepted yesterday, but back to Tessa's reaction. When I didn't respond to her texts, she called my mom. My mom told her I was being passive-aggressive and petty after she'd been nothing but supportive during my job loss. My mom, bless her, said, "Supportive? He told me you called him a failure." Yeah, I tell my mom everything. Tessa didn't know that either, so now Tessa's blowing up my phone even more. I'm still not responding. I'm actually at my lawyer's office, signing paperwork. The deal closes in 30 days. After taxes and splitting with Jerome, I'll walk away with about $1.4 million. Last night, she confronted me when I got home. "Why are you being such a baby about losing your job? My post wasn't even about you." I just looked at her and said, "Then why are you so upset about my comment?" She couldn't answer that. This morning, I woke up to 37 texts from her friends telling me I'm an insecure loser who can't handle a strong woman. Astrid even sent me a job listing for a warehouse position with the message, "This might be more your speed." Cool. I start moving my stuff out tomorrow. Already signed a lease on my own place. Tessa doesn't know yet. She's at work posting inspirational quotes about removing toxic people from your life. The irony is delicious. Update 1. So I moved out while Tessa was at work last Thursday. Took all my stuff, left my key on the counter with a note. "Leveling up, the rent's paid through the end of the month. Good luck." The meltdown was immediate. She came home to an apartment missing half its stuff. Yes, I owned more furniture than I realized, and lost her mind. called me 73 times in 2 hours. I didn't count. My phone did that for me when I finally checked it the next morning. The texts ranged from, "Where are you?" to "You can't just leave," to "I'm calling the police for theft," to "Please come back so we can talk like adults." I texted back once. "Everything I took was mine. The lease is in your name alone. This is your official notice that I've moved out." Then I blocked her. But here's where it gets wild. Friday morning, she showed up at my mom's house at 6 a.m., demanding to know where I was living. My mom, who works nights and had just gotten to sleep, was not happy. Told Tessa to leave or she'd call the cops. Tessa started crying about how she just wanted to talk and didn't understand what went wrong. My mom said, "You called my son a failure for losing his job. What's to understand?" Tessa tried to explain that she was just being honest and pushing him to be better. My mom literally laughed in her face and closed the door. So Tessa did what any rational person would do. She went to my old workplace. Yeah, she showed up at the company that had just laid me off, asking security to let her in because she needed to check on her boyfriend who might be having a mental breakdown. Security called my old boss, who called me, confused as hell. "Hey man, your girlfriend is here? She says you're missing?" I explained we broke up and apologized for the drama. He was cool about it, even laughed and said, "Dodged a bullet there, huh?" But Tessa wasn't done. Oh no. She started posting on social media about how worried she was about me, how I'd disappeared after a mental health crisis, and asking people to check in if they'd seen me. Made it sound like I was danger to myself or something. My phone started blowing up with concerned texts from mutual friends. I had to do damage control, letting everyone know I was fine, just ended a relationship, and moved out like a normal person. That's when Jerome texted me, "Bro, your ex is messaging me on LinkedIn asking if I know where you are. How does she even know who I am?" Good question. I'd been so careful to keep my business separate. Turns out, she went through my old laptop, which I'd wiped, but apparently not well enough, and found some emails. She knew about the business. She knew about Jerome. She knew about the pending sale. And that's when her tone changed completely. Saturday afternoon, I get a text from an unknown number, her friend Astrid's phone. "Baby, I'm so sorry. I was just stressed about money. Can we please talk? I love you and I support your dreams." Your dreams. The same little hobbies she mocked for 2 years. I didn't respond. Sunday, she showed up at my new apartment. How did she find it? She followed Jerome from his house. Followed him. He noticed her car and called me before leading her on a wild goose chase around town for an hour before losing her at a traffic light. But she figured it out eventually. Showed up at my door Sunday night with takeout from my favorite restaurant and wearing the dress I bought her for her birthday. "Please, just hear me out," she said when I opened the door. "I know I haven't been the best girlfriend lately, but I've been thinking. Tessa, you need to leave. I know about your company. I know about the sale. We can work through this. We're a team." A team. After 3 years of dismissing everything I did as a waste of time. After calling me a failure. After publicly mocking me on social media. "We're not a team. We're done. Please leave." She tried to push past me into the apartment. "You can't throw away 3 years. I stood by you." Stood by me? You posted that I'd never level up 2 days after I lost my job. I wasn't talking about you. Your friend literally commented asking if it was about me and you laughed. She had nothing to say to that, just started crying. Not sad tears, angry tears. "You tricked me. You hid assets. I'll sue you for half of everything." I actually laughed. "We're not married. We never even had a joint account. You have no claim to anything. I supported you emotionally for 3 years. You called my business a hobby. I was protecting you from disappointment." The mental gymnastics were Olympic level. I told her to leave or I'd call the police. She left, but not before saying, "You'll regret this when you realize no one will love you like I do." I closed the door thinking, God, I hope so. The sale closes in 3 weeks. Jerome and I are already working on our next project. And Tessa? She's about to find out what leveling up actually looks like. Update 2. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely insane. Remember how Tessa said she'd sue me? Yeah, she actually tried. She hired a lawyer, an actual lawyer. This dude called me last Monday talking about equitable distribution of assets accumulated during the relationship. I gave him my lawyer's number and told him to pound sand. My lawyer called me an hour later, laughing his ass off. Apparently, Tessa's lawyer was fresh out of law school and thought he could intimidate me into a settlement. When my lawyer explained that unmarried couples with no joint assets have no claim on each other's property in our state, the kid actually said, "But she did his laundry." Shun did my laundry. Once. And she shrunk my favorite hoodie. But here's where Tessa really screwed herself. In her desperation to prove we were basically married, she submitted a bunch of social media posts as evidence, including the one calling me a failure, including her comments laughing about it, including DMs with Astrid where she called me dead weight and said she was just waiting for him to get his shit together or find someone better. Her own lawyer told her to drop the case. But the universe wasn't done with Tessa yet. Remember her marketing job? The one she was so proud of? Well, turns out her company has a strict social media policy. And someone, not me, I swear, sent HR screenshots of her posts about me having a mental health crisis when I simply moved out. They called her in for a meeting about maintaining professional standards online and gave her a written warning. She had to delete all the posts and issue a public apology for spreading false information. The apology was beautiful. I apologize for my recent post suggesting my ex-partner was experiencing a mental health crisis. He is fine and I was mistaken. I regret any concern I may have caused. The comments under it were brutal. Turns out a lot of people had figured out what really happened. Someone even commented, "So he dumped you and you tried to make him look crazy? Toxic much?" But wait, there's more. Last week, the announcement about our company's acquisition went public. It was in TechCrunch, Startup Daily, and a few other industry publications. $3.2 million acquisition highlights innovation in HVAC industry. They even had a photo of Jerome and me shaking hands with the buyers. Guess who saw it? Everyone. My LinkedIn blew up. Former coworkers, college friends, even my high school teachers were congratulating me. And right there in the flood of notifications, a connection request from Tessa. I didn't accept it, but she wasn't done. She created a fake profile, Teresa Mills Entrepreneur, and tried again. The profile pic was clearly from some stock photo site. I blocked that too. Then came the texts from her friends. Astrid first. "Hey, sorry about that warehouse job joke. Tessa didn't tell us about your company. Congrats, BW. If you need any marketing help with your next venture?" I didn't respond. Her friend Bianca. "Girl, you know I always thought you deserved better than Tessa. Coffee sometime?" Didn't respond to that either. Then the best one from her friend Coral, who I'd met maybe twice. "I'm actually looking for investors for my sustainable jewelry line. Would love to discuss opportunities." The audacity was incredible. But the absolute peak happened yesterday. Tessa showed up at the closing. I don't know how she found out where and when it was happening, but there she was in the lobby of the law firm, dressed like she was going to a job interview at Vogue. Security wouldn't let her up without an appointment, so she just sat there, waiting. When Jerome and I came down after signing the papers, officially millionaires by the way, she stood up and tried to approach. Security stepped in between us. 5 minutes, she said. "Just give me 5 minutes." Jerome looked at me and said, "I'll wait in the car, but I'm starting a timer." I shouldn't have. I know I shouldn't have. But I was feeling generous. Maybe it was the check in my pocket. Maybe it was closure. I nodded to security that it was okay. She immediately started crying. "I know I messed up. I know I wasn't supportive, but I was scared. You were always so focused on your project, I felt like you were pulling away from me." "So you publicly humiliated me?" I was hurt. "I thought you were going to leave me behind when you succeeded. So you decided to leave me behind when you thought I failed?" She had no answer for that. "I loved you," she continued. "I still do. Can't we start over? I'll sign whatever prenup you want." Prenup. She was already thinking about marriage and divorce settlements. "Tessa, you showed me exactly who you are. Someone who kicks people when they're down and only shows up when they're up. I don't want that in my life." "You're going to throw me away just like that? After everything? You threw me away. I just agreed with you. Remember? Some people will never level up." Her face went red. "You knew." You knew about the money when you commented on my post. You were mocking me. I was agreeing with you. You were right. Some people will never level up. They'll always be bitter, small, and mean. Thanks for the clarity. I walked away. She called after me. You'll be nobody without me. Just another tech bro with money and no soul. Jerome was in the car grinning. How'd that go? About as expected. She's still hot? Still hot. Still horrible. Dodged a bullet, man. Dodged a missile. We drove away, and I haven't heard from her since. I'm sure there'll be more drama. There always is with Tessa. But honestly, I don't care. I've got a company to build, investments to make, and a life to live. Oh, and that Instagram post she tried to delete? Someone had already screenshotted it, and it's become a meme in our friend group. Anytime someone accomplishes something, they post "just leveled up" with her hashtags. Karma's beautiful sometimes. Final update. I wasn't going to update again, but what happened last week was too perfect not to share. So I've been living my best life. Started working on our new venture, revolutionizing inventory management for small retailers, if anyone's curious. Bought a nice but reasonable condo. Been hitting the gym, traveling a bit, generally just enjoying peace and financial security. Tessa, from what I heard through the grapevine, was not doing so well. The written warning at work really hurt her reputation. She started applying to other jobs, but somehow word got around about the whole false mental health crisis thing. Marketing is a small world, apparently. Last week I was having lunch at this place downtown when I see her walk in. With a date. Some dude in a suit who looked like he just stepped out of a hedge fund catalog. She was laughing at everything he said, touching his arm, doing that hair flip thing she does. She saw me. I know she saw me because she suddenly started talking louder, making sure I could hear her conversation about exciting new opportunities and big changes coming. I focused on my sandwich. The dude excused himself to take a call, and of course, Tessa made her way over. Theo, how are you? She used my full name. She only did that when she was trying to be formal or superior. Good, Tessa. You? Amazing. That's Bradley. He's a venture capitalist. We've been seeing each other for a few weeks now. A few weeks. We'd been broken up for 6 weeks. Good for you. He's actually very interested in tech startups. Maybe you two should connect. I almost choked on my drink. I'm good, thanks. She leaned in closer. You know, I'm glad we ended things. You were holding me back too. Bradley actually appreciates ambition. That's great, Tessa. Really. Bradley came back, all smiles until he saw me. Tessa introduced us, making sure to mention my little exit. Her words, not mine. Bradley's eyes lit up. Wait, you're the HVAC tools guy? Dude, that was brilliant. I was actually looking at that deal for our firm, but you guys moved too fast. What are you working on now? I gave him the elevator pitch for our new company. He was genuinely interested, pulled out his card. Tessa's smile was getting tighter by the second. We should definitely talk, Bradley said. I've got about $50 million to deploy this quarter, and this sounds right up our alley. Tessa interrupted. Babe, didn't you say you don't usually invest in such niche markets? Bradley looked confused. No, I specifically look for niche innovations. That's where the real money is. I took his card, said nice to meet you, and went back to my table. But I could hear their conversation getting tense. Bradley was asking about her past with that guy, and why she described me as some loser ex who couldn't keep a job. The date went downhill from there. Bradley kept trying to talk about business. Tessa kept trying to change the subject. When the check came, she did that thing where she doesn't even pretend to reach for her wallet. Bradley paid, but I caught him rolling his eyes. They left separately. He stopped by my table on his way out. Hey man, sorry about that. I had no idea you two had history. She told me she'd been single for months. No worries, not your fault. She also said you were unemployed and living with your mom? Interesting interpretation of events. He shook his head. You know what? I'm good. But seriously, call me about your startup. And thanks for the inadvertent heads up. He left. Tessa was still outside, pretending to be on her phone. She saw him walk past her without stopping and her face fell. Later that day, she unblocked me just to send one text. You couldn't just let me be happy, could you? I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She'd torpedoed her own relationship by lying about me. All I did was exist and be successful. But the real kicker came yesterday. Remember her job troubles? Well, she finally found a new position. Great, right? Except, it's at a company that just became one of our clients. She doesn't know yet. She starts next week. The CEO called me personally to let me know, saying he wanted to make sure there wouldn't be any issues. I told him Tessa and I had dated, but it ended amicably, stretching the truth. But I'm not petty enough to sabotage her job. And I wished her the best. But here's the thing, as part of our contract, I'll be doing quarterly presentations to their marketing team. Her team. The universe has a sense of humor. I'm not going to be unprofessional. I'm not going to bring up our past. I'm going to walk in there, do my presentation on how our inventory system will revolutionize their operations, and leave. But she's going to have to sit there, in a room full of her new coworkers, while her ex explains how his second successful company is going to make their jobs easier. She's going to have to smile and nod and take notes. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Not because I want revenge or to rub her face in it, but because it's proof that sometimes the best response to someone telling you that you'll never level up is to just level up. Without them. Jerome thinks I should warn her, give her a heads up, but honestly, she'll find out when she finds out. Just like she found out about the first company. Just like she found out that some people will never level up applies to those who tear others down, not those who build themselves up. My mom called yesterday, said she ran into Tessa at the grocery store. Tessa tried to make small talk, mentioned her new job, asked how I was doing. My mom, savage as always, said he's doing exactly what you said he'd never do, leveling up. Tessa apparently just said, "Oh," and walked away. And that's it. That's the end of the Tessa saga. I'm sure I'll see her at that presentation. But after that, she's just someone I used to know who taught me a valuable lesson. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when they tell you you'll never amount to anything, prove them wrong. Not for them, for you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a company to run and a life to live. You know? Leveling up.